Hi, everyone. Welcome to Talk It Up Tuesdays. Today I'm here with Elizabeth Lopez. She is one of our staff counselors at the Turning Point, and we're going to talk about group options for group therapy. But before we get started, I want to take just a minute and tell you about the Turning Point. We're the Rape Crisis Center. We're based here in Plano, and we serve survivors of sexual violence in the North Texas area. We provide counseling, education, advocacy, and forensic exams for all those in need. We have a 24-hour crisis hotline that's available 7 days a week. That number is 1-800-886-7273. Well, welcome, Elizabeth. I'm so glad to have you join me this morning.
Yes, hi. Thank you for having me, Amy. It's a pleasure to be here.
Well, so just to start out, at the Turning Point, our counseling department offers both individual as well as group therapy counseling options. So I wondered if you could expand on the group therapy options a little bit. Just give me a quick overview and tell me why it might be beneficial for someone.
Yes, so we do offer group therapy. We right now we're in the summer groups, so we have 9 groups that are running. But the purpose and difference of group therapy is that, right, instead of it just being a counselor like one-on-one with one individual client, we are able to talk with a group of clients that are wanting to learn. And the purpose of group therapy offers many benefits. And one of them is many of the people that we see, many of the survivors that we talk with have no support from family, friends, and we all really do have a need to connect with other people. And so being able to do it in a safe environment with a counselor that is facilitating the discussion, the psychoeducation, the group clients are able to connect with other individuals. They're able to share, many of them share a common struggle, a common pain. And so being able to relate to another person is very beneficial. Apart from that, I think there's also a huge benefit of being in a group. For example, when the counselor is leading a group, the counselor is able to be non-judgmental with a client. Be supportive, show empathy. And the other clients that are watching, the other survivors that are watching are able to pick up on how can I be non-judgmental like the counselor? How can I also show empathy towards other people? And so there's many little lessons that are involved, but I think overall for clients and survivors that are willing to be a part of the group, it can offer a sense of connection, a sense of acceptance within a group, and just a safe place for them to learn, to share, to express themselves, and just be a part of something. And so I think group therapy has many benefits, and it's something so unique that offers really a compassionate place, environment for survivors to really thrive along with the counselor.
Well, I'm glad you mentioned that about the modeling by the counselor. I never would have thought of that as being a benefit, but now that you say that, it makes perfect sense. So many probably unanticipated benefits like this that somebody can actually encounter in group therapy. So you mentioned that we're starting in with our summer sessions of group counseling options, and I've actually linked our counseling page for our group therapy options, but I wondered if you could just hit the highlights and tell me some examples of some of the groups that we have going on, and maybe what might be unique or beneficial about them.
Okay. So yes, we're offering 9 groups for the summer. So that is, some of them started last week, some of them are starting this week, but there's still time to join. This is for current clients, for past clients, and for people who are in the waiting list. So instead of, not seeing anyone until their counselor calls them, they're able to join right now and start learning.
Can really quickly. So if somebody is not on the waiting list, can they still join? Can they call and set up an intake and then be placed in a group even without having already made contact with us?
Yes, that's correct. That's one of the
Okay.
benefits of the groups. You don't have to be a current client to join. Uh,
Okay.
but yes, they happen weekly. So right now, because we're in the summer groups, they happen weekly. They're mostly 55 1-hour sessions. Um, and they last about 10 weeks because we're in the summer right now. And so some of the ones that we have, and I can list them for you, is we have Trauma 101, which is virtual, it's psychoeducational. It happens on Mondays. I'm sorry, on Wednesdays at 6 p.m. We also have Trauma in the Physical Body, which is a virtual group. Very important group that teaches and just psychoeducates on how trauma affects the body and affects everybody, honestly, in different ways. We have the BIPOC group, which is one of the new groups that are have been added, and it is for survivors. It's virtual. It happens Wednesdays at 5 p.m.
Just for anybody listening, can
I'm sorry?
Okay.
I think you came back. I hear you now.
For anybody listening who maybe isn't familiar with the term BIPOC, can you explain what that means?
Yes, so I can give you the exact acronym for it, but it is for really individuals that are part of a minority group that many times can be overlooked, uh, or can be ignored, or can just feel like an outcast. And so the BIPOC group is able to reach people that are also part of a minority group and, just support each other and tell each other, like, we're here to support you. We understand the struggle of many times feeling like we're overlooked, but we're not going to continue overlooking you. And so it can stand for Black, Indigenous, and people of color. That's what BIPOC means. But it can be a very supportive group, especially with people who are part of the Black, Indigenous, and people of color population.
Great. Thanks for explaining that.
Um, Also, some of the other groups that we have is one of the ones that I'm leading, which is in Spanish. It's called Grupo de Soporte para Amigos y Familiares, which means it's a group of support for friends and family of the survivors. And so that one is led in Spanish, and it's virtual Tuesdays at 4 p.m. We also have another new one called Life After Loss, which is the grief group that goes beyond just losing someone through death, also like grief, the grief that we can all experience after a trauma. And so being able to sit with each other in the pain to process that and just learn about the grief process that can look so different for every individual. That one is Thursdays at 2 p.m. in person in the Plano office. We also have the Friends and Family group that it's in English. That one is 5 p.m. on Wednesdays. And we also have another new one called the Movement and Breath group. So this one is in person in the Plano office, 6 p.m. on Thursday. And that one is going to be very, very fun, very interesting, because many times some of the common symptoms and common defense mechanisms after someone has been traumatized or has been threatened, their body can shut down, can freeze up. And so it's important to move our body, connect just our nervous system, shake our body, do deep breaths, anything that can help us just connect and ground ourselves. And then we also have the LGBTQIA plus survivors groups that's going to be held on virtually Thursdays at 6 p.m. Again, just trying to reach individuals and survivors that may feel overlooked. The last group that we're offering is the Expressive Arts group, which is one that is always a hit. That one will be Mondays at 5 p.m. in person, just a way to express, and that those are ways to heal, honestly. All these groups can offer different benefits, but overall, they all can help people who have been traumatized by different events, particularly sexual assault.
Great. Thanks so much for sharing that. There are so many different groups, and I love some of the new groups that we've got started for this summer session. So I want to reemphasize what you said, that there's still time to join. So if anybody is watching or listening and would like to find out more or join one of these groups, there's still time. So I was going to ask, so you told me a little bit about how long the sessions last. So some are virtual, some are in person. So I want to dive in a little more into this friends and family support group. If you can tell me a little more about maybe what that looks like and why you think that's important, especially you're just starting this up in Spanish. And so I know it probably is important to you, especially, and what do you hope that the participants are able to gain from it?
Right. Yeah. So the friends and family group. So again, we have an English one, English speaking one. And then we also have this one that I'm leading right now. It really is the first bilingual group that we're hosting. So the friends and family group is the big purpose is to walk along and help family and friends of survivors that may feel completely lost in how to help, how to support, how to sit on their pain. And so the big goals of this group is I want to, one, teach Spanish speaking friends and family about what are the effects after a trauma. Many times after a survivor experiences sexual violence, the family wants to go and support. And many times they have great intentions, but they can really hurt the client or hurt the survivor. I can give you one example. Sometimes after a survivor discloses that they've been assaulted or have experienced sexual violence, a friend or a family can start saying, but why were you there? Like, how did you not think? And they start saying things that blame the survivor. And so one of the goals for the group Friends and Family in Spanish is to teach how to listen to a survivor. Things that are very helpful and beneficial for a survivor to hear. I'm also going to be teaching about words and statements that can be very hurtful. And my goal is also to help friends and family of the survivors to learn how to take care of themselves. Because after a trauma this huge, after a survivor can experience one of these traumas, many times, say like a mother, they want to watch the child or watch the daughter or son 24 hours, 7 days a week. I've heard that a lot. And again, it's great intention, but down the line, the parent or the family member or the friend can end up being totally consumed, where now their health is being very negatively impacted. And so my goal is to educate friends and family about ways to be supportive, things that are helpful when they say them, also statements that are hurtful. But I also want to teach them how to take care of themselves in the midst of the pain that is very evident. The last thing that I want to emphasize a lot in this group is I want to offer them resources. Many times resources that are in the Spanish language can be very limited, and I understand that. And so I'm particularly researching resources, places they can find more information that have Spanish speakers that can actually have conversations with them too, and just be supportive to them. And so those are the main goals of the Friends and Family group in Spanish. Again, just trying to reach individuals who many times don't have the same amount of resources as an English speaker has.
Yeah, and we're really excited to have you on staff because you're really opening up the opportunity for healing, for counseling, for support network to a whole group within our community who maybe hasn't had this opportunity because of the language barriers. So can you describe for me, you mentioned that the group sessions are about 55 minutes to an hour long. What can somebody expect when they go into the session? What might it look like?
Okay, I can give two examples because we are doing virtual and in person. So it can look a little bit different, but many similarities. So for a virtual session, usually, so say just so that everyone who hears knows how to reach a facilitator. Basically, in the document that Amy shared, there's an email after each group listed. And so all that a survivor, a client, a friends and family has to do is email that facilitator. And then they will put you in the list and they will be sending emails. So basically, to join a group, a virtual group, the individual will just have to go to their email, push the link, and then join the group. They have the option to put their camera on, but many individuals don't feel comfortable doing that. So that's okay. They don't have to do that. They can ask questions. There's times when the facilitator will ask a question. They're free to answer or ask, but they don't have to do that. So there's no requirements in that area. But basically, once they join, a facilitator will usually many times start by teaching, like offering psychoeducation. They may then start asking some questions. Again, it can look a little bit different. That's for a virtual session. And then for an in-person group, really the individual, after they message the facilitator, email them the facilitator that they're interested, they will receive an invite. Remember our group is Thursdays at 6, whatever the group looks like. And the individual will just come to our Plano location, the same place where we hold individual counseling, and then there will already be a room reserved for that group. They join in, and then again, the facilitator may first ask them to introduce themselves if they would like, and then they would normally take over. The facilitator just takes over the session, the group therapy. Sometimes the facilitator allows, welcomes individuals to share, but sometimes it can look a little bit different. So particularly like for the expressive arts group, the way it's been done in the past is that the client or the individual comes in, sits down in the table, the materials are already spread out, and then they're offered a prompt. This is what we're going to do today. And then the individual is able to do the prompt however they want to, using their creativeness. And then they can share at the end. So it can look a little bit different for each group.
Great. Well, I think sometimes people are hesitant to go into new spaces because they don't know what to expect. So I think you're helping to maybe quell some of that anxiety or fear around stepping into something new. So can you just go over again, like last bit, if somebody wants to join one of the summer sessions, what do they need to do at this point?
Okay, so all they have to do is look at the PDF, right? That offers all the list of the 9 groups that are offered for this summer. Then they have to look at the email, particularly that is listed for that group, and just email the facilitator and tell them, hi, I am interested in this group. That's all that really has to happen. From there, the facilitator will then create a new email where they will be sending out the links. But that really is all that has to happen there. But one of the important factors that does have to happen is that the facilitator will connect that individual with a case manager simply to do what's called an intake. An intake is just a few questions to better get to know the individual, to make sure that they fit really great with the group. And that's basically it. But the facilitator will help you with that. You don't have to do anything alone. You don't have to figure it out by yourself. The facilitator is there to help you be able to join the group. And then after that, everything else is smooth.
Yeah. Well, and like everything else at the Turning Point, if anybody has any questions at all, you can always call either our hotline number or our office number and be directed to staff, and they can walk you through the process as well. Well, Elizabeth, thank you so much for joining us today and telling us about the therapy groups. Is there anything you would like to say before we go?
Yes, I would just say I would motivate anyone who's interested. Even if they don't know if they're fully interested in a particular group, you can always just call us and then we'll talk to you about the group. And I do recommend clients or survivors or friends and family to just at least, they can check it out one time. They don't have to commit. Say they haven't come up or something. They can just go the first time, check it out, see if they feel they want to be a part of it. And if not, that's totally okay. We will not pressure you. But if you decide, hey, I think I really like it, I really find support here, we just recommend you just keep coming. But all the counselors, everyone that is here at the Turning Point, we just want to help serve survivors, help them in their healing process. And group therapy is really one of what offers many benefits. And we just, again, it's free. So it's one of the huge perks. We just motivate the people that hear us to just try it out one day and just watch how beneficial and helpful and healing it can be for your life. But that's
great. Well, thank you, Elizabeth, for joining me this morning. And I hope all of you listening will check out our therapy groups. Take care, Elizabeth. Have a great day.
Thank you. Goodbye.
Bye-bye.